to start some rabble-rousing things, and that's not what it was at all. The Houston Area Women's Center was started because shortly before I arrived on the scene, there was the International Year of the Woman in Houston. And one of the big issues that came out of that was the fact that women were being abused and they had nowhere to go. It may seem very peculiar to tell you that there were no shelters, but there were no shelters. There was nowhere for a woman to go. And the idea, the mental position that most people took was, well, if she was being beat up, she must have said something, and so she deserved it. It's got to be her fault. It can't be that bad. And if she would just calm down and if he would take a walk around the block, everything would be okay. That was the attitude. And so we really had a lot of work to do. We had to change the mindset of people, that this was something that affected a huge number of women and some men in the community. And so we started, and that's how the Houston Area Women's Center started. I was on the board for a number of years, and then I was hired on as the Chief Executive Officer. When I was hired, we had 50 staff. When I left 18 years later, we had 120 staff. And that's not trying to pat myself on the back. What that's trying to say is, we had a crisis. We had a crisis in Houston. And we needed more help, and we needed more people that were going to serve as counselors, and we needed more volunteers. The woman in the video said that she was volunteering now at the Women's Center. We needed more of that. We needed more people who could answer the phones, and we needed a shelter. And we had a small house in the Montrose, but there was no way that it could house, it housed about 20 people. That simply wasn't the number that we needed. And so a number of years later, we had a big capital campaign, and we raised money, and we have a shelter in Houston that is absolutely spectacular. And I know that's a funny word to say about a shelter, but it really is. It's big, it houses women and children, it has an on-site school, it has volunteers, men who volunteer for us because we need children to see strong male figures that are compassionate and loving. I can't tell you where it is, or they're going to have to kill me. So it's in a secret location, but it really is absolutely phenomenal. So the issue is, we want to put ourselves out of business. That is, all the shelters that are represented here today want to put ourselves out of business. We want to eliminate domestic violence. And one of the things we did not all that long ago was to really get men involved in the issue. We needed men to stand up and say it's unacceptable. We needed men to make sure that they were involved in the process. And that's what we've been able to do. And so I'm very thrilled that the Consul General took this on as an issue, that other Consul Generals have seen the need for it in their countries, that you are all here today. And finally, as a way of an introduction, even though I know you're going to be introducing the next speaker, I'm going to tell you that one of the things that I think I did the best when I was at the Houston Area Women's Center was to hire a really young woman who was just out of college. And she was full of life and excitement. And while she's not as young, she's still full of life and excitement. And that is Sonia Corrales, who will speak on behalf of the Women's Center. Sonia.